And I believe that you're lying.
And do you agree with him? Do you all agree with him?
Yeah.
So CO2 is not
Do you guys think
to see a genuine scientific thing?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to speak in public.
Global climate.
Why aren't you think more people are coming out like you and trying to gauge us?
I don't know. I don't control them. They don't control me.
You look pretty. Outlook on us.
Well, that's up to you to judge. I don't know. Maybe I have a very negative outlook on you.
Maybe.
But excuse me.
Then it would be a bad thing for me to be out here. Eh?
Will we have a vote here about the climate change, folks?
I think so.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay.
Climate change is a hoax.
Everybody who believes that the climate change thing is a hoax.
No doubt about it.
What climate change?
It's a hoax. It's a hoax.
Not climate change.
Well, then we democratically agree that climate change is a hoax.
Global warming. Global warming is a hoax.
Okay.
But you would certainly be somewhat informed about the 9/11 situation, how it was carried out, and who is behind the 9/11.
I wasn't informed about that.
You're not informed.
Well, I'm just as informed as you are. I think.
If he were, he would not be standing out here. Because it is very evident now by all the scientific analysis of the 9/11 that the 9/11 was actually engineered by a very small power group of elite people.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, who had actually put explosive on all floors in the building.
I saw the documentary
Right.
about that.
And what's your opinion about it?
I think it went I went different. I think it was not the truth.
What about Building 7? It wasn't hit by any plane?
It fall down several hours.
I don't think it was hit by a plane, wasn't it?
No, not at all.
It fell down in 6 seconds?
But since you are this uninformed about it, how can you then?
I'm not uninformed.
How can you
I'm
then
informed
pretend?
about it, but I have a different opinion than you have.
Sir, obviously,
It's possible.
Your opinion about Building 7?
I think there was 2 buildings that were taken down by 2 planes.
Three.
And the other buildings were taken down by the.
So you
crash of
are
the
a
2 main
sheeple.
buildings.
You are definitely.
Honestly, you can't tell me you believe that.
5 hours
Yeah, I know. Fire. It could create that.
You can even say it with a straight face. Come on.
I'm an engineer.
Yeah. And all impossible.
Not all
You can't
engineers
even say it with a
I'm an-
straight face, man.
Do you have any evidence of the so-claimed hijackers boarding the planes, going into the cockpits and flying the planes? You don't have that evidence.
Do you have the evidence of the opposite?
You can't fly planes that way. You can't fly planes that way. Pilots say you can't fly Boeings that way.
Yeah, well, you can.
You cannot bring the pilot who can do it. Bring the pilot who can do that. It's totally bullshit.
the speaker, please.
No, let's keep it cozy amongst each
You don't
other.
have to prove. You don't have any kind of proof of the crimes that people do stuff.
You don't have to prove either.
You-
It's difficult.
Of course, I think it's impossible.
Come on.
Let's do 2 questions. Come here.
Come on.
Dear people,
Take the challenge.
dear friends,
Show
dear
up.
friends.
Come and speak.
Take the challenge.
We don't fight. We don't do anything. Please. We will
Now we're talking.
But is it appropriate to come at 15 o'clock when Nils Harry knew for, I don't know, 14 days that Nils Harry would come at 15 o'clock? And then when he's starting to speak,
I have 1 hour to spare. I come here, but I don't like to shout at you. So I
I
don't
might
like
like
to
to
sit
but
down.
I couldn't get your attention from over here.
Now I only have one question. I want to ask you that. This is just one question.
Yeah, why speak when Nils Harry was scheduled to speak? You pull all the questions. No, I'm speaking, and I'm asking, please.
I have to agree on who's
ask
speaking
first.
first.
Yeah, why did you come? When Nils Harriet was scheduled to
Actually,
speak,
I
and put all
came
the
here
press away.
because I got a message from a journalist that I spoke yesterday.
Give him some space.
And he asked me to come again.
He got arrested today. He got arrested today.
Did he? Yeah. Oh, that's a problem.
It's good, and I spoke to you yesterday
Maybe he did
also.
something wrong.
No,
No, that's the only reason. I have 1 hour, and I already took 45 minutes now. So only a
Mr.
few minutes
Samson,
left.
what do you think about
I want to answer questions. I want to speak to. I don't want to shout at them. So
It's not shouting.
what do you think about the
You arrived here by plane, right?
yes.
Yes. It's lucky that the plane motor or the jet engine didn't melt by the jet fuel, right?
Yeah, it didn't.
Because it took more than an hour to get here by plane. Yeah, and 1 hour, World Trade Center, the beams melted. or jet fuel.
He's already stated his opinion on this. Can we ask? Can we focus on Bilderberg?
Steel.
You don't burn the kerosene in a jet engine like you do in. What about the I mean, it's totally different.
Yeah, but it wasn't fuel combustion.
I have to admit, I'm a politician, so.
You just said you were a scientist. I'm sorry to remind you.
If you define privacy as the right to be left alone, which is sort of a definition of privacy, at the moment none of us have it. Do we? No. We choose that. It's difficult to preserve it in a world where everybody watches each other. You watch me at the moment, we watch other thing and other people, and you watch each other.
Yeah, but we're not watching you every time
You are
you're
in a public
online.
place. But no, the problem is privacy. It's something that is precious, and we should preserve it. But at the same time, we all use technology that is intrusive. Privacy.
We don't listen on
We
don't listen to your phone calls.
That's different.
We don't read your emails. We don't listen to your phone calls.
I
We don't
don't
touch
do
you at
that.
the airport.
I don't do that either.
No, but
it's a system.
generally as part of a system
Yes.
that does it, right?
Yeah, I represent
Not
a
direct.
system that does it.
Yes. How do you feel about
And you're
that?
part of a system that does it.
Unfortunately,
We don't want to be part
I have
of
no
it
choice.
anymore.
I think it's a difficult discussion. If
Foreign
you, I mean, we need information about criminals, terrorists, or don't you think you need
How many
that?
terrorists
you
have
need to
we
have
found?
you need to have
Quite a lot.
suspicion.
Yeah, that's not what I've heard.
Well, it's
Through invading people's privacy,
You can't have dragnet
through breaking the
surveillance.
constitutional laws that people have.
no, you shouldn't break law as soon as
now have-
somebody
But you
breaks
are
the
every
law.
day, all the time.
They have dragnet drone
It's difficult because we
surveillance.
made laws.
It's
and
not difficult.
Maybe you have to blame me
It's
because
on plain paper.
I'm
If
standing
you
in
can
front of
read,
you.
you know it's
You have to
against
blame
the
me
law.
because I made laws. I'm responsible for laws that allow the secret agencies to look into stuff that you don't like. That's true. So you have to talk to me, not the secret agents. They
They just do their job just like the Nazis.
Do you think it's going to
I'm
escalate?
with a lot because every government does this.
Yeah, we're just doing our job, but that's no excuse
No,
for
they-
responsibility.
no, hold on. If a policeman here just
But he's still,
not a Nazi, yeah?
he's still responsible
matter what
for
he's
his
doing.
action. No matter what.
To the privacy
just
debate.
watching them, I think they're doing a good job.
Do you think it's going to escalate? Where every citizen is going to have.
Is civil disobedience, is that a crime?
No.
No?
No.
But the thing is, when people they are
I
disobeying,
did it for 9 years in Greenpeace. Civil disobedience is part of democracy.
And what made you stop?
But you have to have a few conditions. The two most important. One is non-violent. Always non-violent. If you do civil disobedience, don't use anything. And take responsibility for your action. If you do something that is not allowed, you get arrested, pay the fine, or
A
whatever.
lot of things that are not allowed.
That's the conditions
that's
under
up
which
to the policeman.
it's up to
The policeman to interpret.
Decide what's not
well,
allowed.
it's in the end up to the judge, not the police.
Bigger issue is
You end up
getting shot
paying a
for
fine
9/11.
decided by
That's what we want to
or
discuss
the
with you.
district attorney.
We don't want to discuss. The bigger question is, who's behind 9/11? Who is really behind the Bilderberg? What is the
Osama bin Laden
agenda?
was behind
That is
9/11.
what we really.
Yeah, a man in a cave with a laptop in Afghanistan.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, you can.
Why can't you people just
But
leave us the
why,
hell
why,
alone?
why start you by laughing?
Because you mentioned Osama bin Laden. Osama
And
bin Laden is
I
an
still want to
Oswald.
answer your question.
He's a patsy.
Exactly.
Who created Osama
Okay.
bin Laden?
And I still want
The
to answer.
FBI and the CIA
The
created
government.
Osama bin Laden to infect the Afghani militant Islamism in order to create problems for Russia. So Russia would then be forced to invade Afghanistan, and then you'd have a new situation. Just like when the CIA
what's your
deposed
question?
and murdered Mossadi in Iraq. Why can't you just leave us alone? Why are we so damned important to you? Why are we so damned important?
But you mean now, literally, so that I should walk away now?
Why can't we have access to what's going on?
Yeah.
Why
would like to take a look inside
Not
this
every
hotel.
building is accessible to everybody. If I want to go into that building on the 7th floor, I can't go in.
Make this conference public.
I come out.
Now, you're the only one that I've ever seen.
Not important.
Anders Fogh Rasmussen.
I don't ask anybody else something to do because they don't ask me. They don't ask me.
What's on the seventh floor? Why can't you go on the seventh floor? Why can't you go on the seventh floor? Is it specific? Is it sorry? Is it a
Can I
specific
ask
meeting?
what you're going to tell the Dutch people
Can you-
you're about with the other Bilderbergers? What are you discussing for Dutch people?
What are they discussing on the seventh floor?
Oh, loads of things. Ukraine, for instance. Yesterday, Europe. Yesterday, this morning, privacy. The way intelligence services gather information about all of us.
So you're going to tell the Dutch people what you decided about that? Yeah?
Well,
What you decided?
we didn't decide anything. We discussed it.
What was the discussion?
Sometimes you need to discuss things before deciding. We only decide in Parliament.
Is it against the law in
May
Holland?
you ask for Rasmussen why the European
You smartly walk from that
Yes,
side.
they died in American war in Afghanistan, and now NATO help Al Qaeda in Syria. No Al Qaeda, but the group close to Al Qaeda. May you ask him, please, how is this problem?
I will ask him.
Mr. Sen,
Thank
you
you
said
very
you're
much.
not allowed on the seventh
Can you
floor.
please take them to your friends up there? Please
No,
take them to your
no.
friends up there. Please, it's very important.
You have to take it up there. I mean, I'm
they don't allow us.
It's not mine. It's yours. It's not mine. It's
He
yours.
can't even come close.
Could you do that
I
for
don't
me?
think it will really help
Could you
doing
do that
that.
for me?
But
we're not allowed inside.
Floors for different subjects.
No,
or are
there's
some
floors to
people allowed-
sleep on, and there's only one meeting room.
Did you say something about the seventh floor and you can't go there?
Oh no, it was that building.
Oh,
I
the
was
other
just,
building,
I was
okay,
just pointing at a
okay.
bank.
But is it against the law in Holland for a public elected person to meet in secrecy behind doors and?
Everybody does that. Everybody.
Yeah, but it's
You
like
do that every day. I do
Yeah,
that.
but I'm not like in any.
Sometimes in a discussion like when you are discussing with somebody who's not a public person, he doesn't like to be confronted with a camera. And yet I want to know something. So I go to that person without a camera, out of the public, to know more about an issue. And then I come out and I'm responsible for everything I do myself.
But it's
in
an
public.
obstacle
Could there be disclosure afterwards, after the meeting?
No,
Could there
there
be
is.
written disclosure for the public?
I'm not sure whether you want it in any form or whatever, written or on camera or
But
whatever.
there is a, I mean, could that, is that possibility?
Every member here is responsible for his own actions. I'm for my actions, so I talk about what I do.
You're allowed to speak about what goes on in detail?
Yeah, I'm not. We agreed with each other, and that's part of the rule that I just explained. We agreed with each other that I wouldn't say anything about what another person said. I'm only responsible for what I say and what I
Express himself without violence.
I was
Do we
a-
actually need to kill people?
I had a long time in my former years that I believed that you were completely right.
Yeah.
And then Rwanda happened. And all our teaching and all what we did didn't help anything. There were 1 million people slaughtered in 2 months' time.
Yeah.
And I would love
We sent
to be
10
able
million,
to
10 million.
I would have wanted that we could prevent that. And in order to prevent that, we needed to send people there with weapons to stop it.
You can stop it
bomb him
before
back
it
to
actually.
yeah, you're right.
And I know how.
That's it. Oh,
I know how.
Thanks for that judgment.
What about thinking about psychology? Every person's need. What if you are starting to feel about people who need water, people who need shelter,
Maybe
stuff like
sometimes
that?
we fail in that. Sometimes we fail. Every day
Think
we
about
fail.
all the money we actually waste on military instead of actually putting it
Without
to the people who
democratic
needs
taxpayer
it.
system, we wouldn't be able
In a
to
perfect
function.
world, I would completely agree with you, but the world isn't perfect.
Can't we make the world perfect?
Well, we try.
Yeah.
You try, I try.
So you, in fact,
You don't try that?
Yes, of course I do.
Well,
But you do
good-
it on the
good for you.
wrong way.
Well, you think so?
Yeah, you're making the
I
world
think
better
we
for
all think
yourself,
that.
but not for the majority.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
I
all
can
think
see,
that.
I can
Yeah.
tell from the world.
But you can tell from the 5 minutes that you've met me.
No, not you personally.
Well, okay.
I know, of course.
But who's then you?
The
In
list
your-
of
whenever-
changing
who's then
year to
you
year.
in your
You're here this year because somehow they.
Oh, you mean Bilderberg?
Bilderberg? Yeah,
There's all kinds of different people at Bilderberg.
yeah. Every year you're here this year because they have somehow decided that you are helpful in the plan this time.
Well, I'm not really helpful.
I don't know.
You're making a few policemen a little nervous because you're coming closer into me. I don't mind. I don't mind, but
We're very peaceful.
I just tell you.
We're peaceful. The last thing we are want to cause harm.
About aging
Yes.
Depopulation, I thought it sounded like eugenics. Can you explain again?
Well, it was just a discussion about the fact that, for instance, in Denmark and in the Netherlands, but also in loads of other Western, and also China and Japan, people get older every year. The life expectancy rises, which is a good thing because it has to do with health and welfare, etc. But it also poses some problems for society as a whole. And politicians are elected to solve those problems. Pensions, the fact that we have a smaller workforce and more retired people, the fact that we have less children and more retired people. It's not a problem, but it's a challenge for society to adapt. And we need to adapt in order to face that challenge. That was the only discussion.
Through immigration?
Well, immigration would be a solution or part of a solution for that, but not everybody agrees.
European cultures
So what are you suggesting?
I like a diverse society, yes. But I know there's people that don't like it.
I'm not saying is it the government's job to take care of its citizens?
Sorry?
Is it the government's sole purpose to take care of its citizens?
It should be.
And how do we actually actualize that?
Well, by voting as a way if we don't. So every 4 years you have the chance to say, well, you are not acting in the general interest, you go away.
That's been successful so far.
Well, it's the best system we have.
Look at the choice
and loads of mistakes, but I haven't found a better system yet.
Well, maybe we can actually do it the human way. No, maybe we can actually say, okay, we all get in there at one point. I've heard about systems who have tried that.
You mean all together? Yeah, we already discussed direct democracy. Yeah. So we're going to stand on a parking lot and we just decided that climate change is a hoax.
Not like that.
That was basically decided by
global warming.
Global warming.
Decided.
The climate has always changed.
It is not man-made.
You
Not
just
man-made.
try
I
to
mean,
make
sorry,
CO2 to a new
I will be more precise. Man-made global warming is a hoax.
Capitalist.
According to you. I don't agree with you. But
Capitalism,
I'm a very small minority
have
here.
no say.
I do think the discourse changed from talking about global warming to climate change. That was a peculiar change in discourse. I'm quite sure that there's people like you and others who found out that your scam was perhaps not going so well with that.
Well, I'm starting to talk about some. Let's try to agree on something. I'm starting to talk about something else, a new energy future. I mean, even if man-made global climate change would be a hoax, oil and gas, we're running out. So we have to find new ways to produce our energy. Do you agree?
Yeah,
then we can start working, because that's actually the only way we can act on climate change.
Don't you think the best way is to open up the market, free markets competing against each other to make a profit from the best energy source that provides the most energy for the least
Sometimes it's a solution, but you have to be careful. But it's part of the solution. We saw it with Chinese solar panels. A market was opened up between China and the rest of the world, and solar energy became a lot cheaper. So sometimes market mechanisms work.
If governments are working with companies and they're doing favors and doing backdoor deals with certain corporations and not others, then it closes off the market.
That was not what we were discussing.
But I'm asking, if that happens, right, that's not going to create progress, because it's going to stagnate the market, and it's not going to develop the price
But if a government does that, you are allowed to send that government away.
I hope so.
If it's a democratic government, and then we're back to democracy.
All right,
what about capitalism? Can we do something about it? Like, for example, make a limit on how much
we have to.
a single person can have.
I'm a social democrat. I sincerely believe that
you have to. Can you let me talk finish, please?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, what if we make a limit on capitalism and say you can earn this much, and then say, okay, we have this pile of money, and we actually spend this money on the people who don't have it.
Yeah, good idea.
So we can make
spreading the wealth. Never go to the people.
Why should someone be more wealthy than others? Why should someone
some difference in income will be inevitable, I think, but they shouldn't become too big. You're right.
Why should someone have a bigger right to live?
You need a government to, for instance, impose taxes on rich people so that we can give some money to poor people. I think you have to discuss with each other, because I don't think you agree with her.
But you agree with him.
Sorry about that.
Now that you have a past as an agent of environmentalism, what's your view on such thing as smart grid?
It's a nice way of doing demand-side management, meaning that we use less energy, we have a
But
smarter
it's a
energy.
centralized system that potentially can be Orwellian in its structure
Yes,
and
that's exactly.
in its big data collection.
That's exactly one of the downsides. Yes, but there's also some positives.
Of course, there's
now we
no
have
such
to weigh
thing
them
as
and-
an absolute negative.
Precisely.
When you look at
That's
technology.
why you weight the positives and the negatives. I think we need to take care of.
Yeah, a question about what you talked about in there. I mean, are there some of the real important questions? For example, the bees are dying. I mean, that is something that really matters. You talked a bit about privacy. I mean, I would imagine you talked about how we can decrease the privacy. I mean, that we still have some left. That, for example, we know cures to cancer. I mean, the pharmaceutical.
Why do you think the bees are dying?
Because of environmental pollution, maybe radiation from mobile phones. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
I was just good because you thought man-made global warming was a hoax, but on this side we are on the same side. I do think we have to be careful.
I believe that a lot of
chemicals.
pollution that a lot of shit companies do. But I mean, these are the real issues. Also about privacy.
Some of the
about
seed
how we
treatments
fight disease.
and the
I mean,
GMOs.
Pharmaceutical industries that don't really help us. Most of us know that by now. There are cures to cancer. There are cures to almost any disease.
We have
is this coming out to the people?
Let me give you another dilemma. If you want to cure cancer, suppose that you can. You need big data. You need very big data.
You've got a water fast.
No, you need to know why cancer is existing and what kind of. You need a scientific database of enormous amount. And there you are again.
We've cured other things.
Well, yeah, but we haven't cured cancer.
Working quite.
Well, people have cured themselves of cancer with cannabis.
That could be one of the solutions, but not for everybody.
I know a lot of people.
But you cannot cure all cancer with cannabis. No,
Rick Simpson,
I'm sure.
Thomas Young, even.
I'm sorry about that.
What specifically are you bringing to Bilderberg this year?
Sorry?
What specifically are you bringing to Bilderberg this year?
Myself.
But why
Nothing
why
more
you
than
and
that.
not a different politician?
I think what they always do, it's Europe and the US, and it's the Bilderberg sort of tradition. And from every European country, they ask somebody from scientists. They ask us. There's a Dutch scientist in there. There's some Dutch business people. There's some Dutch politicians, and that's for all countries. So basically, you try to have a mix. And it's sort of randomly selected. I'm not important, so
Do they need
I'm
you
randomly
a politician or a
selected.
nuclear engineer?
I'm a politician, and just by accident, I'm also a nuclear engineer.
How do you become invited?
I was trained as a nuclear engineer.
If it's so random,
As a
why have I never
scientist,
been
what
invited?
is your view, especially as an environmentally interested scientist, what is your view on fluoride? That we have fluoride all around us in our toothpaste, in our
was not
water,
democratically voted
that
for
was
to be
actually
implemented.
used by Nazi Germany on an
It was first
experimental
used in the
basis
Gulag, in the Russian gulags
to make people docile.
Yeah.
Why do we have that in our toothpaste, and why is that so spread around the world?
Drinking water
in different
in
food products and different products that we ingest.
It has.
Isn't that a problem from an environmental point of view?
Fluoride has also some positive effects.
Not sodium fluoride.
No.
Hold on, please. Some positive effect on your teeth. So basically,
Natrium fluoride. Not
it has
sodium
also some negative
fluoride. Big difference.
And that's where only. If you think you should regulate it out of our food, there's loads of stuff that is regulated out of our food.
But the
Fluoride
problem
could
is
be one of
we
them.
didn't-
If you vote on it
My
in
point
the
was
Netherlands
we
or in
didn't-
Europe,
we
we
didn't
regulate
vote
it
to
out of our food.
Isn't that an issue that the democratic process didn't
Sometimes
vote
it works the other way
on-
around. Sometimes you
Isn't that an
vote
issue?
you vote to get something
But
out of it.
isn't that the complete opposite of democracy? When something's imposed on you and then you have to fight to get it out. Shouldn't we have had a say whether to fluoride your
I
water?
don't think you have a problem with fighting for something, don't you?
Yeah, but I'm losing.
I lose every day. So you win some too. Don't
Do you use fluoride
That's not
toothpaste
democracy,
yourself?
though,
Yes.
to vote something
I do.
out.
I have to
I'm
ask
not
you
a fair-
something.
And then I'm going away.
Yeah.
I'm granting this
Sodium
lady
fluoride
the
is
yeah.
synthetic, extremely toxic.
Mhm.
Toxic.
I know.
And the natural fluoride is called calcium fluoride. Why are you not using that one? It's not dangerous for us.
I'm using Prodent. I'm not sure what kind of fluoride it is.
Sodium. Sodium. You can read it on
They
the
are
back.
putting
Have you had your name again?
Prozac.
You know more about that than I do.
Prozac,
Samson. Hi.
SSRIs are filled with sodium fluoride because it makes you docile.
I hear him think, who the hell?
Did you hear what I said?
That's correct. There's loads of people in there that you think, who the hell?
Antidepressants are filled with fluoride.
Samson is my last name. Diederik is my first name. I'm from the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands.
Yes. And you think, who the hell is he? Well, there's about 130 people in there, and you know a few of them. But most of them are just like me.
Actually, I don't
Not
really
most
care,
of
but
them.
I just wanted you to make sure that you answered this lady's question because they were actually.
I don't
Why
have the
is
answer.
antidepressant filled with fluoride?
I don't have the answer. I don't know.
I have.
I'm sorry.
It makes you docile.
Okay.
And that's why it is.
I will get into that. I will promise I will get into that. I learn every day. Yeah.
Last question.
Last question.
As a former Greenpeace activist,
Yes.
why are you part of this?
Because I joined politics, because I think democracy is a way to change things, and we don't agree on that, everybody here, some of you do. And part of democracy, part of being a politician is that I try to become better every day. And therefore you sometimes go into a hotel room with scientists and business people, and sometimes you stand on a parking lot with loads of people around you with a camera. And both events make me a little better. See you. Goodbye, guys. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
Well, it was a nice event. Thank you.
It would be nice to see more of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.